Well, hi everyone, I'm Sean from Attack Panic and welcome to this session of question and answers on Thursday the 19th of March 2015. Tonight I want to respond to a question that was sent to me a few days ago by Carolina Serrano, and I just want to thank her for allowing me to use her question tonight. Carolina writes, I just finished reading it, Attack Panic, and have been trying to practice and persevere with my triggers. However, how do you deal with a panic attack while driving? My anxiety seems to stem high when I'm stuck in traffic. I have tried to just breathe through and tell myself that it's okay and I have nothing to fear. I finally had to exit the freeway because my emotions took the best of me and I did not want to put my life and others in danger. Thanks for that question. It's a great question. I think the underlying issue here is quite possibly the biggest challenge and hurdle that everyone will have to face during their journey of healing. I'm not going to deal with how to deal with a panic attack while driving because I don't honestly believe that that is the issue. And besides that, I'm pretty sure Carolina and most of you are already fully aware of Building Blocks 3 or BB3 in Attack Panic, and that relates to the Panic Attack Eliminator, which completely disempowers and completely disables panic attacks and phobias and stops them in their tracks. So you all know that. The issue here, the problem that I think exists is how do I actually take the first step? How do I actually do this? And that's what I want to address. So I'm going to pull a few points out of Building Blocks 3 and I'm going to discuss them. We're going to have a wider discussion of them here. First of all, the first point I'm going to talk about is understanding. And the second point I'm going to talk about is the correct mindset or attitude. And then we're going to finish off with a discussion on mantra. So in terms of understanding, it's really important that we're all on the same page. It's really important that if you're going to move into that which you perceive as fear, is that you understand a few things. First of all, you're not mental. You don't have a mental or physical disability. You suffer from an anxiety condition. It's a learnt behavior. It's a bad habit, nothing more. The sensations of anxiety that you experience at really inappropriate times are completely harmless. They have never harmed you and they never will harm you. It will not cause you to cause harm to anyone else. What you actually fear during panic and high anxiety and phobias is not the situation or the event that triggers your panic cycle, that triggers your panic attack. It's not your car, it's not the bus, it's not people, it's not your house, it's not the banana, it's not the queue. No one has ever died because of standing in a queue, and you know this. You need to accept that what you actually fear is the sensations themselves. You interpret these sensations as horrible, which they are, and you interpret them as fear and you want them gone. So that is a resistant, fearful attitude, and that fuels the panic cycle. It's all explained in Building Blocks 3 and Building Blocks 2. But before we move forward, before we take that step, it's so important that you review that and that you accept everything that I have just said. What you fear is the sensations. It's not driving. It's not the freeway. That's so important. So it might pay just to review Building Blocks 3 again. I explain all this at length. So review that and make sure that you accept that as truth if we're going to move on. Now let's look at attitude. The correct attitude to take when you experience sensations or panic is an attitude of acceptance. complete acceptance and a willingness to experience what is in the moment. So let's talk about the wrong type of acceptance at the moment. So this is the wrong type of acceptance. Crossing your fingers and going, right, Sean, I'm going to do this, but shit, this better work or I'm out of here. Or I'm going to practice this whole concept of acceptance, but only until it gets too hot, and then I'm going to go. Or I'm going to accept this, but I want my sensations gone. Your job, your only job, and I reiterate, your only job is to practice acceptance, practice willingness to experience what is in this moment. Your job is not to remove or stop the sensations. That will never happen. The sensations are turning up as part of a habit, and until we deal with that, which is building blocks 4BB4, I can guarantee that they're going to come up. I can guarantee you two things. One, I can guarantee that you can turn off the panic cycle. You can stop panic in its tracks and disempower phobias and panic attacks in an instant. The minute you turn off the fear, your interpretation of fear, is the very second that you no longer experience fear. So I can guarantee that that will happen in an instant. The other thing I can guarantee is that your sensations will continue to come back. But that's not a problem, because now that you no longer fear them, they can hang around like a cup of coffee. The sensations that you experience when you're having a cup of coffee, when you're laughing, when you're exhilarated, and when you're competing, they are the exact same sensations. You've just removed your interpretation of fear. So I can guarantee that they're going to come back. So your job is not to try and stop them. That is counterproductive. You'll be taking one step back and one step forward and 5 steps back, when your expectation is that for the sensations to go. You can expect whatever you want, but you might be disappointed. I would expect to be able to accept the moment, accept my sensations for what they are and nothing more. So that's your attitude. And I'm just going to repeat myself again. Your job is to try and stop sensations. That will be disastrous. Your only job is to accept what is. Now, you have to walk into that which you fear, that which you perceive as fear. You have to, because you can't learn an experience, you can't learn a skill or discipline without exposing yourself to that which you want to learn. There is no way around it. You cannot learn to play the guitar, for example, without actually doing it. Playing the guitar is hard at the start, but it becomes easy. Everything is hard at the start until it's easy, and it becomes easy with repetition. Taking your first step into what you perceive to be fearful, like driving, being on a freeway, is going to be scary. I can guarantee you that your sensations will turn up. Your attitude is not to try and stop them. Your attitude is to accept them, understanding and knowing that you're not in danger, and you will not cause anyone else any danger as well. So you have to do it. You have to expose yourself to it. You have to take that first step. The other reason why you actually just have to do it, take the first step, is because until you do that, you won't be able to experience and feel what true acceptance feels like. True acceptance, you will feel it through your body, because the fear will be removed. It doesn't matter whether you've got the sensations, because they're completely harmless. Once you've sent a message to your subconscious that you are no longer fearing or resisting, the panic button is turned off. But you have to experience that so you know what it feels like. You know what a good acceptance is, the right acceptance, and you know what the bad acceptance is. Like, shit, I'm out of here. I'm out. You want to know the fast track to healing yourself of panic attacks? The fast track is to not give yourself an out. So you say to yourself, so what? No matter what happens, I'm going to stay here. Just do your worst because I'm just going to stay here. Do not give yourself a possibility to exit, and your fear will die. With the right attitude and faith and courage. Give yourself an out, like, well, I'll do this, but yep, there's the exit, and I'm just going to do this until it gets too hard. I can guarantee you that it will get too hard. That out is still a conscious signal that you're fearing and that you're resisting. And the subconscious will pick that up and will ramp up your anxiety to the point where you will have an overwhelming urge to escape. That's the fast track. You want to get well? Throw yourself in the deep end with understanding, belief, and faith and courage. And armed with the right attitude, you will just completely annihilate the panic cycle. So let's talk about the third point is mantra. In Building Blocks 3, the Panic Attack Eliminator contains 5 steps. The first step is to observe. You just notice that your sensations are starting to appear, or the anxious thoughts have arrived based on a trigger. It's irrelevant what that trigger is. The next step, the second step, is to demand more. Something like saying something to yourself, a conscious command like, so what? Or come on, do your worst. Come on, sensations, give me your worst shot. The third step is detachment from any outcome. Incidentally, it's summarized from page 139. So the third step is detachment. So you would say something like, it is what it is. The fourth step is acceptance. I love and accept myself exactly the way I am. The fifth step is to, with all your concentration and attention, the best that you can, to focus on your task at hand. Talking to somebody, driving, doing your work or whatever, getting back into your task. Now those are the 5 steps of the Panic Attack Eliminator. What a mouthful in a hot moment. I can guarantee you another thing, that in a hot moment, if you were to try and think of those steps, that would be also disastrous. And that's why I say in Building Blocks 3 to turn it into one seamless conscious command, and I'm going to call it a mantra. Your mantra could be one word, starting with F, 2 words actually. Could be a sentence, but the mantra should be succinct and very, very simple and small in terms of the length of your mantra. And the idea of this mantra is to bring you back and to take you through those steps automatically. For example, for me back in the day, it would have been, so what? I'm not running anymore. I'm staying right here. So what that has done for me, it allowed me to notice or observe the sensations coming up. I then demanded more. I then detached from any outcome. I accepted what was, and I got back into my task. So what? I'm staying right here. But with that attitude that whatever happens, I'm okay with it. The sensations can come. I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to give myself an out. And I stumbled across that for 15 years. I had great success at that, not knowing what the heck was going on when I couldn't escape. When I had no choice, I just went, can't go anywhere. And then it would stop immediately, completely disempowered. But at that point, I had no idea that I was breaking the panic cycle. I thought I was healed. Then the next day, the next week, I would go into a similar situation, and those sensations would come back. I didn't realize that was because of a habit. I thought I'd healed myself the last time, and then when they came back, I got even more confused. I didn't realize that there are 2 steps. The first step is Building Blocks 3, destroying the panic cycle. The next step is building blocks 4, removing the anxious behavior, the underlying anxious behavior. So the mantra, going back to the mantra places your attention onto those 5 steps without you going, okay, step 1 is observe, step 2, demand more. That'll just cause havoc. You need to discover what your mantra is, Carolina, when you're in a car and you're driving and those sensations are coming up. I love driving phobias because I love going out with my students, with my members, and talking this through. So if I was in the car with you, Carolina, when those sensations come up and it was me, I would be saying, so what? Knowing that I'm not in any danger, knowing that they're just harmless sensations, knowing and understanding that, I just go, well, I'm not going anywhere. You can do your absolute worst, but I am actually staying here no matter what. That is a conscious, non-resistant and fearless command, and the subconscious will pick it up and stand down. That's the power of the mantra. But you have to discover what yours is. Some people will respond better with a more aggressive mantra like beep, beep, beep. Now that might work. Won't necessarily work for you. You might want a more subtle approach. My approach is, so what? A real, just disinterested, couldn't care less attitude. So what? I'm just staying here. I'm not going anywhere. That worked for me. It may or may not work for you. So you've got to work on your mantra. So those are the 3 points. I hope I've explained them well enough to give you the confidence, Carolina, and everyone else, to just take that first step. Your fear of bringing harm to yourself and others, you also need to manage that. At some point you need to go, well, is that fear a reality or is it white noise? It's white noise, so therefore you can just accept that as part of your high anxiety. There is no evidence to suggest that because of sensations you're going to do something dangerous. In fact, your anxiety has got you into a state of edginess. You're on edge, all your senses are heightened, so you're in a better position to perform. The last thing I want to talk about is breathing. Carolina states, I've tried breathing through and telling myself it's okay. Well, the second part, telling myself it's okay and I have nothing to fear, you can say that if you accept that and you're not saying that with your fingers crossed. You're not saying, oh, it's okay, I've got nothing to fear, these sensations better go. Now, if you're saying it's okay, I have nothing to fear, knowing that you have nothing to fear, knowing that they're just harmless sensations and you're willing to accept them, then that's fine. Saying that with resistance is not fine. Now, breathing, if there is a magic bullet to reducing anxiety, it is breathing. Breathing will do that. It will not, however, stop a panic attack, stop the panic cycle. That panic cycle is fueled and generated through your conscious, fearful attitude. Breathing will reduce anxiety, but your conscious fear is just souping up the panic cycle, rendering your breathing useless. It'll be like, deep breathing taking 2 steps forward, and then you come along and you just bash it with your conscious fear, and it's like you're going to take 7 steps backwards. Just going to stop that flicker. Sorry about that. It's gone. So deep breathing is amazing at reducing anxiety, but do not expect it to stop a panic attack. It won't. It'll just make you even more frustrated, disorientated, and disillusioned. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know what you think. Again, Carolina, the issue is taking that first step, actually stepping into that which you fear and being okay with allowing it to happen. Okay, if you can muster up this acceptance, this willingness to allow them to be, you will take that first step and again, and you will beat it. This is the biggest hurdle, how to start, how to take that first step. That's the biggest hurdle that you're going to face. Let me know how this goes for you. Let me know if there's anything that I've said that you don't get, and I will respond to it. Take care. Namaste.